So, good afternoon. Happy day. It's Friday. Yay, yay, yay. It's August 13th. So, today is Friday the 13th, 2021. So, first of all, I hope we're all safe. I hope we're all happy. I got up in a happy frame of mind because I had a god awful day yesterday. I mean, if I had one more lid to get opened that wasn't kind, I don't know where I was going to go with that. So I had to keep closing, keep closing lids until I just had to get in my bed and go to sleep. And I went early last night. So these are still more ramblings of an old black woman. She's 75. She's old. She doesn't represent anybody. She doesn't know anybody. She's not trying to speak for anybody. She's just been out here in the world for 75 years. And unfortunately, since January, no, excuse me, since, yes, that's right, since January 6th, has had to face different realities because my life up until January 6th had a certain rhythm to it. Now, trust, guys, like I told you all the time, I'm African American, I'm a black woman, and I'm unapologetically black, and I've been black all my life. And then one of the things, I grew up in the 40s. So one of the things my dad would always tell me was, child, you're going to have to learn to work. Get all of the education that you need because A, you're going to have to work to eat and pay your bills. And B, you're too dark to find a man that would love you. Yes, I grew up in the 40s. And if I tell you, I'm of the darker hue. So when I explain segregation and Jim Crow, I grew up in those Jim Crow segregation laws and experiences. And so being called black was a constant in my life. And it was a negative constant in my life. And it wasn't until I was in my 30s and met my second husband who shared that he did not have a problem with me being a black woman. As a matter of fact, he appreciated and thought I was beautiful, a beautiful black woman. And in my 30s, I just had to learn to accept, oh, so black has beauty, black has worth. So I'm 75 now, so 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So I haven't been, I'm not growing up like normal young children now who are of the darker hue, whose parents are telling them how beautiful they are, so they'll have self-worth and feel beautiful about themselves. I had to learn how to appreciate my beauty. So enough said. I mean, I've struggled with it. I've overcome it. It only is fodder in my brains when I have to talk about it. Do I still feel negative about it? No. Do I still feel negative about it? And I said no. I can say it was a hurtful growing up. It was a hurtful from 5 years to 18 years of growing up. And then 18 to that first marriage. It wasn't, I did not have the confidence of being a darker hue, black wife. But enough of my fodder stuff that I still have to challenge my brain to forgive and to love and to, you know, find a sweet spot for and understand that those that reared me, they didn't know any better. And I'm not going to let the ugly in others kill the beauty in myself. And my son just walked through the door. He's tired. I don't think he's speaking, but that's the oldest one that's coming in, and he's done from this thing called work. Let me just say, guys, work is cumbersome right now. I've been doing my best not to have a really script that I read from. And I'm doing my best to talk more from the heart, have some bullet points that I want to speak on, and then try to segue into making my points as best I can. But I don't go back into all the research of A, B, C, D because I've got the John Olivers out there, and you have the Joe Rogans out there, and you have the Bill Maher's out there, and you have the Saturday Night Lives out there, and you have the CNNs and MSNBCs and the Fox and all. So I'm sure you're getting information from somewhere, someone. And I'm sure you're processing information from all these other entities. So I'm just a lone wolf out here because I don't know you and you don't know me. And I can tell you there are not a lot of people that are even listening to me. Because when I do my little thing every day, as I've been trying to do, there's only maybe one person listening, and that one person happens to be my oldest son because he likes his mama like that. But then sooner or later, I'm going to open it up to each of you all, and we can have a conversation about these thoughts that are running through my head and these life lessons that I think I've learned. So, a couple of things that I heard yesterday that I've had to understand that most folk out here that call themselves working are working just to keep the lights on. They're working just to make sure that their lights are on, that their rent is paid, that their insurance is paid, and prayerfully they're hoping they have money for food. So my being having been in the world of work for some 30 years. Hold on just a moment, babe. And where we are now, one thing about a 75-year-old woman is that she can get distracted and lose her train of thought in a second. So wherever I thought I was going with that, I'll have to come back to it. Uh, but when looks like when I was working, it had to do more. It was doing more than just keeping the lights on. It was making sure that everyone in my environment. I can't really remember how it used to work, but it wasn't a negative part of me just getting up to keep the lights on. It was everything else that went with it, and it wasn't a. It wasn't. It was. It was not a struggle. It was a grind because by now, by 35, I'm 3 children in. And so, 3 children in, trying to get 3 to 21, the grind is just the work. So I can't remember working just to keep the lights on. I can remember working just to keep the grinder going, to make sure the kids were fed, they did have clothes, and I wasn't killing them. I wasn't choking the living shit out of them because I grew up getting the shit beat out of me because I came up under autocratic parents. They didn't know any better because they grew up under whipping. And I'm the last generation of whipping because I decided when I had kids, I wasn't going to whip my children the way my parents whipped me. And I think I may have needed to have whipped them a little bit more than I did. But now trust, I gave them words. So what my three do very well is communicate. So the first 100 years, I have to stop and reflect. Are these first 100 years have been a time to stop and have been a time to reflect, especially since January 6th. And then the coronavirus pandemic and the country being shut down in 2020 from March all the way through December, where nothing was moving, nothing was working. And we as a nation had to figure out how to stay on lockdown and not choke the living shit out of everybody that was in our environment. If we were not single, living by ourselves, living with someone and with children during the pandemic of 2020 was a charge to keep we had. And we weren't going to work. So we were figuring out, ooh, well, by golly, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And a lot of us have come up with a lot of creative things to do. And so now we're branching off into some of everything. And for those that are really, really putting our best foot forward, we're receiving some kind of success. Those of us that caught a thought, manage that thought, put that thought out there, and are getting some success and are networking and are knowing how to share and are becoming comfortable with themselves and how they think they want the rest of their life to run. They're in a smooth, blessed transition. I'll just somehow I'm just asking us to become more patient with ourselves, find more sweet spots within ourselves. Because once we step outside of our doors, ladies and gentlemen, it's a nasty world. And to get out there and not become depressed because of that negativity, we cannot continue to just let it continue to get into our spirits and damage our frames of references because we're trying to move forward, push forward in a direction that blesses all those in my environment. I don't know how many people that will pick up on this once we open up to the general public. But at 75, I just know we just have to keep inhaling and exhaling and putting one foot in front of the other and trying to catch a thought, manage that thought, uh, modify the thought where we can, try the management or the critique or the evaluation, and then repeat. We're going to get up. We're going to breathe in and out and exhale and put one foot in front of the other and respect these 86,400 seconds that we all have and try to make them as positive as we possibly can, because this is the only thing that's going to cover us once we leave our house. There is so much nastiness going on until we have to, on the inside, find ways to cover ourselves. The last thing I want to talk about, and I've been saying this for a minute, I know the last, oh, 2, 3, 4 podcasts for sure. Politics came across my screen today that Trump says his only regret as president was not deploying military to attack Black Lives Matter protesters. His only regret was not deploying the military. Mm, mm. And you want him back in 2024. I'm going to ask these 331 million of us living in the United States of America to think a better thought. And I'm looking at the frailty of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. How they really don't have their act together. And how the Republicans are trying to push an agenda that will not involve everybody. So I'm going to say this one more time. There's nothing nice about racism. There's no working your way out of it. Oh, it doesn't work. And to the extent that we have those out there trumping all isms that really think the only charge to keep they have is to protect the white skin and those of white children, this ideology must change. It must change to include all of us. All of us. I am so tired of seeing middle-aged white men running trains of thought that are not good for my life. On the muscle, the majority. Oh my God. And here we go. Black people, brown people, poor white people, people of color, people across the board whose ideas lifestyles are vulnerable, are horrible, are unsatisfied, are unprotected. Mm. We are going to have to join forces to make it better for all of us. And I'm going to invite women one more time to let's come together and let's create a plan, because this thing that's going on right now, this nastiness, cannot continue to exist. Don't let the ugly in others kill the beauty in us. You guys, it's Friday. Let's have a safe weekend. Let's get vaccinated if we haven't. Let's revisit if we need to, if we've not been vaccinated. It's no longer about you, it's about the other people in your community. It's about the other folk in your family. It's just trying to help everybody stay better. Understand these variants aren't any joke. So if we could let's just be kind to each other. I'll invite you to listen to Richard Smallwood, Hold On, Don't Let Go. James Cleveland's Breathe on Me. Richard Smallwood, Thank You. Dallas Fort Worth Mass Choir, Another Chance. Richard Smallwood, If You Sow in Tears, You Will Reap in Joy. Oh, let's have a blessed weekend. Yours in liberty, baby.